Welcome back to another episode of Locked on Hoops with myself, Ben, and Jamel. And NBA Finals is here, man.
Yes, sir. I'm here live from Boston. I'm glad to be back. This was the team I kind of started out my season with. I kind of had an unexpected journey that took me to Florida. But yeah, I'm happy to be back. So far the people have been nice. I never had any issues with the people here. Like just to put that out there. Even though that the reputation that Boston has, I'm pretty sure Kyrie will be expecting some of that Boston love.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he's going to be getting quite a bit of it. But who knows? Um,
Mhm.
they may flip the script and not be as vengeful, but we'll see.
I don't think like Kyrie, he might hear some racist taunts like shit that my grandparents heard from back in the day. That's what I'm expecting.
Yeah, man, it's going to be an interesting time. Obviously, Mavs and Celtics, and the backstory and the storyline when it comes down to Kyrie. And I think one of the guys was on the local radio here. He's I think he's the play-by-play, and he was saying Boston hasn't really experienced playoff Luka, so he's thinking that they may have a bigger hate for Luka than they may have for Kyrie, because Luka will talk trash to everybody. So it's definitely going to be a interesting finals that I'm looking forward to. Not just because Dallas is in it, but because there's a lot of storylines here.
Yes, sir. Like even from Dallas' point of view, like Porzingis, he hasn't played in the NBA Finals period. Like I
Yeah,
only think he played in the first round series. And other than that, he's been hurt and he's been hurt most of this playoff run. Tatum and Brown, they've been to countless conference finals. They've been into a couple NBA finals and like come up with nothing. So honestly, I think this finals for them is like do or die at this
yeah,
point for them. And they're not like in their 30s yet, and they still have a couple more years, but I think their title window is pretty much closing. Well, it's not closing. It's gonna be harder for them to pretty much get back to this point. In the East, like you don't know what Milwaukee is going to do. Like you all know how the Sixers are going to retool. The Knicks are still hanging around there. And in the West, you got OKC is coming up. I'm sure Minnesota will be back in the same position as they were this year. So I think now and now Boston is healthy. So like they have no excuse to lose this finals.
yeah, yeah. I agree. And do you believe the storyline that they had an easy road, which I think your
Oh,
answer would be
oh,
yes.
yes, of course.
Yeah, yeah,
In the first round, they played the Heat. They won that in five with no Jimmy Butler. Second round, they played the Cavs. Donovan Mitchell was hurt. They won that in five. Conference finals, I don't even remember who they played. They played they,
yeah.
they
It don't
played the
matter.
Pacers. They played the Pacers. They swept them in four. It seems like they haven't played in like 2 weeks. Dallas on the other hand, they literally been through hell just to get to this point. And
Right.
to that point, like Kyrie, this is possibly he can win his first title without LeBron, kind of like how Kobe won his first title without Shaq. And Luka, he's looking just to win his first title, period.
Period. Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
And I think people they underestimate the just NBA Jam on fire Luca. If you look at the last game, game six, I mean, when he had 24 points in the first quarter, nobody was stopping it, no matter where he was shooting it from. Now, I think for Luca, it takes something to get him there, which was a fan that was talking trash.
Oh,
So,
he'll get that in Boston.
oh yeah, he'll probably get there quicker than he would
Mhm.
have with Minnesota.
Yeah, I just want to know who's going to be stopping Luka and Kyrie because it's not
Yeah,
going to be Eric White. It ain't going to be Drew Holiday. Or-
and,
I
and
kind of,
people
I kind of feel
people
sorry for them.
yeah, yeah. I keep hearing my phone keeps pinging saying Porzingis is playing. And in my
Yep.
head, I'm like, who cares? Like they're putting so much attention on Porzingis as if he's a an all-star center and he's been an all-star for years and he's gonna make this major impact, which I believe, he did contribute to the team this season. But he's often injured. He doesn't show up when I think when things matter. And that's really been the knock on the Celtics. But yeah, you're right. They don't have any excuses here. This is not a, oh well, we it was hard for us or whatever. Uh, and people say a lot about Boston. You covering the team this year, that they have six good players and the Mavs only have two. I've been hearing that over and over and over again. You think that's accurate?
No, the Mavs, honestly, I think they have more of a complete team more than like the Celtics.
Yeah.
They have Derek Lively in the middle. He's playing the role of Tyson Chandler, who's pretty much being his mentor right now.
Yep.
I think that's something Boston, like they don't have that. And even though he's given up some size to Porzingis, I think he could still pretty much dominate him in the paint, especially on the defensive end.
Yeah.
And then they have the resurgence of, Derrick Jones Jr. He's pretty much been a journeyman throughout his career, but he's using his athleticism on the defensive end. So like there's a lot of defensive pieces Dallas can throw at that they can throw at Boston. I don't know why I keep on thinking Minnesota for some reason. But while we're talking about Dallas, I gotta give an apology to Jason Kidd. I called him one of the most mediocre coaches in the league a couple years ago. And to see his growth as a coach from here to now, like he outcoached two coach of the year finalists this playoff run.
Yeah.
And honestly, in a column I wrote a couple weeks back, well, not even a couple weeks back, this was like before the trade, maybe around Christmas when Dallas was just basically hovering around 500. I I called them Jason Mid. So
Uh, yeah, and there was a ton of people in Dallas that just could not stand him, was ready for him to go. And that trade made a difference, but also he's been saying for since he's been here, I need big man, I need pieces that fit what I'm trying to do. He finally gets a couple of big men, and you see what the result is. But you look at taking care of the Clippers in the first round. Then taking care of the Thunder, who was the number one seed, and then playing Minnesota, and we know the Minnesota, collapsed, but that wasn't an easy road, and they're the fifth seed. So Kid gets a lot of credit for this, and I think obviously Luka and Kyrie being able to gel, which that was going to be the biggest knock, was the biggest knock on them before when Kyrie got here. So they've been shutting up a lot of haters, a lot of doubters, and so they got four more games to win. I think it's doable.
what's your finals prediction? Give me your take. I think Dallas is gonna win, and I gave them six, but I might change that to like seven now.
Yeah, yeah. I'm saying Mavs in seven. That's my prediction. I think it's going to be a battle though. I do think the Mavs defense is going to have to play the best, obviously, that they've had to play all playoffs, and they're going to have to be on. Definitely when it comes to their shot selection, like I already said, their defense, and you know, Jason Tatum is going to be hard to cover. I don't care who they put on him. So that's going to be. I think Jaylen Brown is he can be hit or miss sometimes, but yeah,
Mhm.
I got Mavs in seven.
Jason Tatum, he comes from that Duke pedigree, though. I just really don't trust him in big time situations, and it's not like he had the best shooting performance this entire playoffs. Like nobody's just never talking about it because they haven't really needed him to
Right.
perform like that because they haven't been tested at all. So
Yeah, they haven't even been challenged at all. I was telling somebody that today. Like The Celtics are deep, yeah, but they haven't been in any pressure situations this entire playoff. So I just think really if the Mavs can punch them in the mouth of game one and somehow win game one in Boston, I think that would be a nice intro to the series and a nice uh, blow that dealt to the Celtics.
Yep, and they can't go down 2-0.
Yeah, nah,
They have to go back to Dallas tied at 1-1 or up 2-0.
yeah, and honestly, I would be shocked if they end up winning two games in Boston. I would be uh, shocked just that how playing in Boston and everything that could happen.
Hey, it's
But
possible.
yeah, yeah, it's possible. I mean, and both teams are, I believe, at full strength. I know the Mavs don't have anybody. Kleber coming back, and everybody's healthy. So this is the best of both teams on the table, and there's no excuses on either side. I think.
And the thing that works in Dallas' favor is that their Western Conference Finals, it didn't go like four, so they haven't just been sitting around for the
Right.
past 2 weeks like Boston. Like even though they had a week off, like more or less, like I don't even know the last time Boston played, to be honest with you. So
Been a
that
long time.
right. So just having that long break might kind of backfire and it might kind of backfire for Boston. So this is why I think Dallas has to come out and just strike first.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's always a kind of a two-sided coin. Do they come out fresh because they had a break, or do they come out lax and stagnant because they had a break? And I think it all comes down to it. And I'm looking forward to the coaching battle with Kidd and the Celtics head coach. I think that's also going to be kind of a mastermind, uh, you know, chess battle, between those two.
Hey, Jason Kidd, he was one of the smartest basketball players in the world. And that translated to coaching too. So,
Yeah.
he came a long way from that little hit me episode in Brooklyn to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Now you're right. You're right. I mean, yeah, being with the Bucks at one point in time, being an assistant with the Lakers when they won in the bubble. I mean, he's definitely came a long way. I think one of the X factors, if we let's give an X factor for each side. I think obviously Drew Holiday to me is the X factor when it comes to the Celtics. Former champion, and the dude shows up. I mean, on the biggest moments, he may not do anything the entire game, and when it comes down to it, he'll hit a three, he'll get a steal. I really like the guy as a player. I wish he was on the Mavs, but I think he's a guy that will show up when it matters most. That's the one person I know on that team that will do that. I guarantee. Now I don't know about the other two, but I know he will.
I
Uh,
think his impact is going to be more on the defensive end. Like I think they can get away with him, not really scoring as much. But
yeah,
he's the best defensive player on the on the perimeter,
yeah,
and he's gonna have to lock up or try and contain Kyrie or Luca as best as possible.
yeah. This could be a bunch of screens and trying to get the mismatch and alley oops, man. And this past series, it was Lob City reincarnated. I mean, every time they're going to the hole, it was either Gafford or Lively. So question really is going to be, can Porzingis stop that? Because they're putting it's a lot of pressure on Porzingis. Like I don't know if he's had this amount of pressure maybe ever in his career. But, probably maybe with the Knicks, but in the
Uh,
playoff pressure.
like with the Knicks, like he even sniffed the playoffs. So,
Yeah, but it's just pressure when you play for the Knicks, regardless.
I think on Dallas end, I think the X factor is PJ Washington. I don't know why, like in my head, I always think about PJ Brown every time I'm about to say his name.
Yeah, I think about his baby mama every time I say his name.
Hey, don't get divorced.
Yeah, really, really. Don't. Yeah. PSA: don't talk to Brittany Griner. Okay, well, whatever she does or doesn't do,
Hey,
don't talk to her.
I'm, I'm broke, so she don't got to worry about me.
Yeah, but I agree with you with PJ, man. He's this playoff run. He's shown the ability he has. I mean, shooting threes, defense. He's reminds me of Deshaun Stevenson on the 2011 team. Deshaun was that 3 and D before they started calling it that. I think that's a comparison. And I mean, he's got some swag to him. If something happens, he doesn't have any problem getting in the mix of it and getting in the head of the star player. Like he got in Paul George's head. Now, obviously, the next game he came and he was on fire, but after that, it kind of fizzled out. So, I
Mhm.
mean, I'm all for PJ having he has a great series. I think they even got a better chance of winning.
And then on the to still piggyback on PJ, like I don't see Porzingis being able to stop him, especially if a kid like goes small and they play
Yeah,
fast.
yeah,
Like KP, he's not stopping PJ once he starts shooting those corner threes.
yeah, yeah. No,
Like,
I agree with that too. I don't see that happening. And they're so the Celtics are pretty much six deep. Uh, is that pretty much the depth that everybody talks about?
hmm And another whining aspect about Boston is they got Jeff Van Gundy on their side as a consultant to kind of architect
Mm,
their defense. And
yeah,
it talks about him like actually coming on their coaching staff next season. So, kind of look out for that. And
yeah.
if you
I,
see,
I, could- I could see that happening.
if you see a defensive scheme out the ordinary, that's where it came from.
Yeah, yeah. I could definitely see that happening. I forgot he was on the staff. I remember he did get a job because obviously he was no longer on the broadcast. But yeah, that's another X factor right there.
And another kind of gaping aspect about this is the officials.
Yeah.
Like the NBA, they just released um the pool of officials. They didn't say who was going to do game one, game two, but among those is our friend Tony Brothers,
Yep.
James Capers, Mark Davis, and everybody's favorite, Scott Foster.
Yeah.
So just kind of be wary of that, especially for the home team.
Yeah. 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 I definitely see that. I just hope and pray that Luca does not try to argue, which I know he will at some point. But Tony Brothers and Scott Foster, man, it's not worth being in an argument with them. Just get back up the floor. But that to me could be something that definitely could hurt the Mavs. But I don't know, he seemed to have been able to bounce back and not get so bogged down with calls. But that's something that is probably going to happen at some point.
Like, who do you think argues more, Luca or people in my work email and or in my Twitter DMs talking about Caitlin Clark?
I would probably say your Twitter DMs, man. Twitter is not friendly at all, and they just gang up. I'm sure they probably ganging up on
Oh, they coming at the right person because I gave it right back to them.
you. Yeah, you got time, huh? You got time today.
But yeah, but what do you think about the disclosure around Caitlin Clark? To me, I think it's kind of ridiculous, to be honest with you. Yes, she is being somewhat targeted, but she's not being assaulted, as some people are trying to say. It's
Yeah,
basketball, man. Like
right.
these people, like they never been in a physical basketball environment before. It's like it's like these people that's that's complaining for Caitlyn. These are the people that get like seventh place medals and are proud about it.
Exactly. Exactly. This is the whole participation trophy era sensitive. Like anytime if you playing basketball on any court, on any outside court, it's gonna be arguments. It may be a fist fight. It's gonna be a tussle. It's gonna be a back and forth, and it's like people have never seen that before, which to
Facts.
me is
You know how many times
idiotic.
on concrete,
Yeah,
oh, you call your own fouls, but you really don't call it because like you really don't want people thinking that you soft. You just get up and go.
right, right. You're not shooting no free throws. Get the ball at the top of the key. That's it. It ain't no like, come on, people. And I think with Caitlin, and we talked about this pre-show. If this was anybody else, this would not be a story. If this was Angel Reese, it wouldn't even be a story
She
because
got
they're
lane dropped the other day,
yeah,
and nobody was talking
it ain't
about.
nobody talking about it. Yeah, so like yeah, it is what it is, and they make it seem like Caitlin Clark is squeaky clean, and she's a great ass. She's being picked on. She's talking trash too. And if you
And
say the wrong thing to the wrong person, it's gonna be something.
and honestly, my beef is not even with Caitlyn. Like I don't even dislike her. I kind of like her, to
Yeah,
be honest with you.
yeah,
It's just with these other people, and there's a lot of racist undertones in some of these articles and that are like coming out. Is
yeah. And
like they
it's unnecessary.
like they basically calling Miss Kennedy a thug, and you know what thug is code for these
Right,
days,
right, exactly.
which which I kind of use in a reverse role for that thug that was just found guilty on 36 counts, whatever it was.
Yeah, too many.
All right. But
Yeah,
yeah, it's like let the girls play. It's basketball. She's gonna get fouled. She's gonna foul back. Fights will happen.
yeah. It's competition. When you play at this level and this level of competition, it's gonna be arguments. It's gonna be they're gonna get in each other's faces. I mean, this stuff happened every night in the NBA. Like so, leave it alone. And they and I said, I think I said this last night on another podcast. It's like it's above the rim, and somebody went to the car, got their backpack, and came back with a gun and shot her. Like it's not we not that's not where we at. Come on,
Facts. And Kennedy, like she's with the smoke. Like I went on her Twitter and gave her a follow just because a certain group of people don't like her now.
yeah,
And like, oh, all right. I see she's with it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, you run into the wrong person, you talk trash to the wrong person. It's gonna be consequences. Like you don't just walk around and do what you want and expect not to have a consequence. And that's any sport. That's baseball. You know, you throw at one person, the next inning or the next game, more than likely that person's going to get thrown at. It's just, it is what it is. People need to stop being sensitive.
And honestly, like when was the last time the WNBA had this much coverage and talk?
Probably the first year the WNBA started.
Like I've never seen like First Take or what's the other show with Skip? Undisputed.
Yeah.
I've never seen them talk about the WNBA period, despite what your friend Stephen A says.
This
It's
guy,
like
shout out to uh, Monica McNutt for just on live TV, just taking care of him. Like not let's talk about this afterwards. She just basically let him have it on live TV. So shout out to her.
he kind of reminded me of Trump when Trump was being interviewed about his favorite Bible verse, and,
Right.
and Trump was like, "It's also personal to me,"
Yeah, he's like, there's so many that I
and
can't think
nobody
of
talks
one.
about the Bible more than me. That's what Stephen A. kind of reminded me.
Yeah. Yeah. That is exactly what that reminds me of. I agree with you. Yeah. Come on.
But I think the point Stephen A. was trying to make that First Take gives a lot of opportunities to women of color, both on and behind the scenes. I think that's what kind of got lost in translation,
Yeah.
as opposed to like, oh yeah, I've been talking about the WNBA. I think that's what
yeah, people made it seem like he made Monica McNutt. Like you are where you are because of me. And you know, the media is gonna chop it up and put the clip so it presents it as a controversy either way. Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's been a bad week to be Stephen A with the women folk
yeah, yeah. Because they're coming for him. His DMs is probably lighting up for sure.
in the wrong way.
Yeah, in the wrong way. Yeah, yeah. Not jumping in the DMs in a good way, but yeah.
All right, man. So like what do you have planned for the weekend? We got games 1 and 2 coming up. You got a bunch of WNBA this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, man. Just looking forward to the finals starting. Definitely may have a little get together to watch game two. So we'll see what happens there. And yes, it should be a good weekend. Good weekend of
Oh,
basketball.
and before we go, have did you hear that the NBA announced that the draft is going to be 2 days for no reason?
Yeah, I don't get that. Who pays attention to the second day unless you are covering a
Exactly.
particular
Nobody.
team or a particular player? Nobody. Yeah,
I mean,
like you don't even need to televise that. Like we good. You can cut it off right there.
at least for the media, they're not going to be there all night. That's the only positive I can see about it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Nah. So would you stay both? Are you gonna stay for both days?
I had before when it was 1 day.
Yeah. I just think it's just get it all over with in one day. The second round, you know, there's uh, hidden players that come out of the second round, but most of the time that they're kind of a passion project when it comes down to it.
Unless they're giving Bronny James his own prime time slot. That's the only thing I can really think about.
Hey, and maybe that's the only reason why they're changing it. They could just be changing it from what yeah, we decided just to test it out. Yeah.
You know,
Hey, Bronny, wherever he is, I don't know. He's probably not. I don't know if he could be at the draft or not, but he is going to have full 2 day coverage.
and I think like for whatever team draft him, they're gonna look at him like he's a spy for his father.
Well, no, they gonna know it's a package deal. So whatever team does draft him, uh, LeBron's going there. I don't see any reason why he would not be on the same team.
I don't know. We'll see. Hopefully he's not in New York. That ship sailed
Mm.
from a long time ago. And if it is
Yeah,
in New York, it can be in Brooklyn. They like rolling the dice on stuff that don't make
yeah,
sense.
yeah. They're like making bad super teams. That's their specialty. Negative. Yeah. So hey, it's gonna be interesting. Hey,
You know,
and last thing that deal is final now. So ESPN, NBC, and Amazon are they 11? I believe it said 11 billion with a
yep.
B.
11 years, 76 billion.
Oh, 76 billion. Yeah, 11 years. Yeah,
Hmm.
and somebody mentioned they're trying to cater more to the streaming audience, which I agree with that with the Amazon. ESPN is ESPN, and
Hey,
NBC. That's your big network.
mhm. Hey man, cable's dead.
Yeah, 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 and it's so expensive. It's not even worth having.
I kind of wish Amazon they'll make like Turner or Warner Brothers a kind of a Godfather offer for the rights of inside the NBA and the contracts of all the participants.
Yeah, yeah. I was hoping for that,
I
and
mean,
it's
it's
it's still time.
yeah, it's still gonna happen. Um, I kind of want to hear Shaq and Chuck unfiltered.
Yeah, yeah, and I think yeah, if they can continue that, and I mean, obviously Amazon's got the money to do it,
Mhm.
so we'll see. They got a full year to try to work
And we,
something out.
and we still get the finals on NBC on ABC with Mike Breen and
Yeah,
his merry men. Hopefully they'll get back Van Gundy and Mark Jackson because this set of broadcasts is not working.
Yeah,
I'm not
it's
sure who the broadcast is going to be on the NBC side. Hopefully hopefully Maria Taylor is involved sidelining, or I don't know. Costas, it seems like he's too old.
yeah, yeah. I think he's out of the game now. But they've been pushing Grant Hill a lot in these playoffs. Grant Hill and
He's with Turner though, so
yeah, yeah,
like a lot of these dudes are with Turner, so they would have to either look for a contract buyout or play legal gymnastics. That's the only
yeah. Only way.
thing I could think about. Give
Yeah,
somebody a fresh shot.
yeah, yeah. They may want to put some new talent.
hmm I see Austin Rivers. He might be a good play-by-play guy.
Yeah, maybe.
And honestly, Draymond Green too. Like if you get past the antics and him hating, like he was really insightful on a lot of things.
Yeah, yeah. Anytime he's not on a basketball court, he's an amazing guy. It doesn't get into anything, and with a great analysis too. I mean, he was basically breaking down the game for Gafford, telling him what to do. So yeah,
Yeah, but they got a whole year to figure out broadcasters and analysts and pre-show and post-show.
yeah, yeah. They got time. They got time to figure it out.